What's up, guys? Today I am just doing some mining, strip mining actually. And I actually wanted to try and do something here that I've been basically planning on wanting to do since I started doing the whole Minecraft PC series. It's just dealing with microphone issues and all this stuff. I haven't really had time to do it, and then also just kind of feeling disorganized, not really knowing how I wanted to go about it, because it's kind of, I don't know. If no one sees it, it's not gonna be very important, but I feel like if I'm gonna give it a try, then I need to try and do it right. But I was I'm not gonna say what I'm thinking about naming it, because I may not even name it that, and maybe something, I'm sure there's something out there already titled it, which maybe isn't an issue, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, basically what it is I wanted to use downtime, like where I'm mining. I've actually done quite a bit already, just trying to get into the zone to talk about things, but I wanted to use these like mundane, boring things just to talk and kind of do a in-game podcast of sorts. Oops. First of all, you may notice I have my diamond pickaxe and I put the Unbreaking 2 on it and the fortune efficiencies on it and everything. So what I do is I mine with my iron pickaxes, or if I have another diamond or whatever, and then when I find ores that the fortune is good for, like this, or diamonds, which I've already found and have some stashed in the chest in the front of the mine, I whip out that one and, you know, make the most efficient mining technique I can. So that's what you may see me doing here. Slap that there for now. Block this off. Alright, so as I'm sure if this video goes up, the title alluded to, today I want to talk about something that is relevant to me, because it's an issue I have suffered with throughout my life, and that is social anxiety. Not the funnest of topics, and I am aware that, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen, a lot of commentators or YouTubers in general don't seem to talk about it. I am particularly referring to like the gaming community, people who do gaming videos, commentators, whatever. And I understand like why that may be. I'm not saying there aren't any, because I'm sure there are. That's obviously, I don't watch every single person, but the ones I do watch, like I am an avid viewer of people like PewDiePie. I watch a channel, like, I don't like, they're not quite as big as everyone else, but Mayo Electric. I watch Achievement Hunter and Pyrostasis. I'm not using the fortune pickaxe on the redstone, by the way, because it's pretty abundant as it is, and I don't really need it right now, so. Anyway, out of the ones I do watch, and what I've seen, a lot of them don't seem to talk very seriously about a lot of real issues or whatever, especially when it comes to anxiety and depression, things like that, because they're touchy subjects for a lot of people, obviously. And one thing in particular is they don't, or like PewDiePie, I know, is one who actually admits to not having, like first-hand experience with it, and he is afraid to talk about it for fear of, like, you know, offending people, which is understandable, of course. So I kind of thought maybe there was a void there I could try to address. Anyway, I don't know, this is kind of a long drawn out description, it's probably unnecessary, but you know, it basically just seems like maybe a lot of people don't do it because, oh no, I lost my torch, oh god. I was hoping this would go better. So, like, that's... Oh, it's a cave up there. that's basically the idea of why I wanted to do it, and I hope it's not an insulting effort to anyone who may feel that my take on it is, I don't know, disagreeable or whatever. I also don't know how much I may be cutting this video. I want to try and minimize the amount of cutting that I do, but considering how I'm rambling on right now, I don't really know how possible that's gonna be. So, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, so, like, that's the first thing that I wanted to address is, like, why I would make a video like this and why talk about something that's just no fun. It's no laughing matter. See, this is why I say you have to dig around. Don't just get what's immediately exposed, because it's always hiding right there, like right next to it. But, anyway, so that's the why. And, you know, not to be insulting to anyone out there who's done something like this. It's just I haven't seen it. So, I don't want to get, like, too specific as in, like, whoa, how, you know, my life has been, like, this is, you know, terrible, my life has sucked, or whatever. I just don't feel like that's necessary, and it defeats the purpose of the video. I just wanted to talk about it and maybe fill that void, like I said, of the people who have suffered with it and they watch people like PewDiePie or Achievement Hunter and they make like little jokes about anxiety or depression or whatever, but no one ever really talks about it seriously. So if you're dealing with that, it's not that you are necessarily selfish, but it makes you feel kind of alone, like you're watching these people and you enjoy their videos and their work, but it just seems like they're so much better than you, like they're not dealing with anything. And you know, it's like I said, maybe it's could be considered a selfish mindset that you're thinking about how you feel and you can't just be happy for other people who aren't dealing with things like you are, but it's hard not to feel that way if you're afflicted by something. So I just thought it would be kind of interesting to have something out there that maybe some people who are similar to me can relate to. Oops. So that's kind of the philosophy behind me making this. So hopefully it's not a total bust. Anyway, moving on. Those seem like a really unnecessarily long disclaimer or whatever. But anyway, yeah, in my personal experience, having social anxiety has been, like, I will say I have not been, like, formally diagnosed. This is basically my own personal observation from research and then how I've been affected by things. I call it social anxiety, maybe even a little bit of general anxiety. I don't really know for sure. But that is my assessment, and I'm going to talk about it as if I know what I'm talking about, which I don't, but maybe I do, because I'm gonna. But anyway, it's affected me quite a bit. Things like going to town by yourself, going into a store alone, or here comes the fortune. Simple things that a lot of people probably, I guess, take for granted that you can't do so easily. And that's kind of how it's affected me. I think a lot of people who talk to me in person or whatever, like I'm not, like, one thing is a lot of people are embarrassed of it and try to hide it, but I've always been kind of upfront, like when I talk to people that, you know, I have social anxiety, so if I act kind of weird or awkward or whatever, that's probably why. And they're usually surprised that I would have it, because the way I tend to act covers it up, I guess, to some extent, or for the most part. and it doesn't seem like I have it. And I guess maybe that's perhaps my defense mechanism for having it, or a coping mechanism is that I behave in a way that seems contrary to being anxious. But I think in my particular case is I kind of handle it well, in regards to being in a situation, but that doesn't make the build up to a situation any easier. Like, even if I know I can handle it, the thought of having to do something is terrifying and very affecting. So, it doesn't really help in that regard. Like, the anticipation of something coming up, like having to go somewhere alone, or especially when it comes to things like school or work, it'll like just stop me in my tracks if I have to do something outside of my norm. So yeah, anyway, we all have our personal struggles. I'm not going to go too far into mine. It seems uncalled for right now, but that's just, the general idea of how it can be affecting other people who have their own versions of like how exactly they're affected by things like that. And, I can't speak for everyone. I can just hypothesize about what it means to others. But anyway, the point is, like, for someone who, whether you deal with it and are looking for someone to relate, or if you don't deal with it and are looking to understand, it can be kind of difficult, and a lot of people with anxiety and depression and whatnot can't really effectively explain what they're going through and what it feels like. There's a lot of things out there that do sort of explain it, so I'm not going to pretend that I'm like Mr. Anxiety Guru who's gonna change the world or anything, but basically, like, in my thinking about it, one of the examples, like the best description I can come up with, is feeling anxiety, especially social anxiety at least. It's kind of like feeling claustrophobic. If you, like, most people can relate to the idea of, like, if you can imagine someone is gonna lock you in a box, like a box that's not just locked, but it feels like it's just closed, like a box was built around you and is not meant to open. And perhaps it's, like a coffin-sized box where you are pretty much stuck and you can't really move. That intense fear and anxiety that strikes where all you want to do is escape from the box. If you can imagine what that would feel like, which I think that's a pretty relatable fear for a lot of people, of being in a cramped box and having no escape. I think that's probably one of the most effective ways I've thought of to describe it. So for a lot of people, that's perfectly fine. It's the fight or flight response to something. But when you have irrational fears, social phobias, and anxieties, and things like that, that feeling can strike you with the simplest thing of, like, I have to go do something on my own today. No one's going to be able to go with me. I have to go to the store, or most commonly it's like public speaking, things like that. But for the more, like, general social anxieties, it can be as simple as, like I said, going to the store, going outside and taking a walk, or anything that puts you in the public eye where you feel like there is possible scrutiny abound, like waiting for you outside or whatever. And it can just paralyze you, make you feel like you're in that box and there's no escape, and like you just panic and you just immediately go into the fight or flight state where you are looking for an escape, wanting to get as far away from that feeling as possible, and that means neglecting things like getting a job or going to school, or what have you, even going to like a family gathering or something. So it's pretty difficult to live with that when you feel like you're trapped in your comfort zone. Like you can't just go out and be normal and do things like other people. It can, that obviously is what segues into the depression aspect, is that most people with social anxiety deal with depression. Oh no, holy jeez. There. Jesus Christ. What a nice way to go into depression. So yeah, like that's obviously an even more touchy subject with people, because depression obviously makes people think of you know, suicide and really dark things like that, which to the healthy mind is way out there. You know, why would you want to kill yourself or whatever? But there again, like the box theory, as I loosely call it, if you feel like you're trapped in a box and you have to deal with that intense fear, and it's not normal to feel that way and everyone expects you to feel differently, you become depressed because you convince yourself that you're not supposed to feel that way. And when you convince yourself you're not supposed to feel a certain way, then you feel guilty, you feel like ashamed, and it feels really bad, you know? You feel like you're not normal and that you can't live up to others' expectations and all these things. So it's not pleasant, and it overwhelms you very easily. And a lot of people can't deal with it, and thus that's why... Where is this guy? He's scaring me. That's why a lot of people give up. Like, if you feel like you can't get out of the box, then the best option is to obviously die, which is very unfortunate when there are probably solutions out there. But one thing is, our society doesn't teach that there's solutions beyond heavy medication and therapy, which is something I personally disagree with and have issues with. But I have to admit, I have not tried either of those. This is based on my personal observations of those who have tried it. Usually, in my opinion, therapy and medication just leads to more therapy and medication. It doesn't seem to address the real issues. But this isn't, you know, Minecraft therapy. I can't really advocate my personal stance on it. It's just, you know, it's just how I feel. And, you know, probably wrong. If you are dealing with these issues and you've found this video, I don't mean to insult your methods or anything. It's just my personal stance. And I'm sure it varies for everyone. Like, I can't say one way or the other either, so it's just my general observation. But the point is, though, is that that's what happens, is people feel like there's only a certain way, and when they try those things and it doesn't seem to work, then they become even more hopeless. So that, you know, that drives the issue even more. So, like, basically, like, I don't really know how far I'm gonna go into the topic today. I'm kind of rambling. I have, like, an outline of the way I wanted to discuss it, but, I'm really not exactly sure what is necessary to talk about and what isn't. But basically, I wanted to cover it, at least on a general level, and maybe for people who are suffering with it, if you found this video, you are perhaps relieved. Maybe it seems nice to have someone who's talking about it and in the format of a game commentary, as absurd as that sounds. You know, for me personally, I thought it would be nice if the people that I watch and enjoy could relate to things in my life, as selfish as that may be. But yeah, anyway, I have lost my train of thought and I don't really know what to say. it's just I just hope that like anyone who found it can relate, and maybe it's nice to know someone who's doing this stuff. Like one thing I can't say about like how I was affected is even recording these videos is kind of a nervy experience for me, especially the first one. You may be able to tell if you watch it. The I suck at commentating Minecraft PC video, the very first one. No. Oh god. Oh jeez. It never ends. It's like something as simple as that. Like this, it is like a very difficult thing for me to like put myself out there, and I feel self-conscious about my voice and how I talk. I feel like no one's going to be really interested in hearing me or watching my videos or whatever. So it took a good bit of like work for me to be able to do this kind of stuff, and that's one of the reasons I didn't want to just jump into talking about this, because I wanted to try and be more comfortable with recording my own voice and gameplay and actually feel like I'm talking to someone who wants to hear what I have to say, which probably isn't true, but I mean I have to at least feel like maybe that could be the case. So it's like even something as simple as that, just knowing that I'm going to be recording my own voice and have someone out there hear it, as unlikely as it may be to get many viewers or anything, just knowing that it's possible, that it's out there for someone to happen upon and criticize and scrutinize and all these things. It's pretty difficult, and I'm more comfortable with it at this point than I've ever been before in my life doing videos. Like I used to do machinima a good bit and things like that, and recording my own voice for a part or whatever was something I always enjoyed, like the idea of acting and playing a character, but it was very difficult for me because I felt like I wanted to shoot myself every time I heard a recorded version of my voice. Anyway, this is way off topic and rambling. I just wanted to express like just how far it can go. Like even not being in a social setting, but knowing that a recording, like a part of you, can be in a social environment, can even be difficult with anxiety. But you know, the point is like maybe from talking about it, if someone has it and they hear this, it'll be some kind of light to shine on the issue and help you to like, or encourage you to really like, you know, think about it and go for some self-discovery. Or maybe, you know, a lot of people who are dealing with someone who has anxiety and they don't understand it. It can be really frustrating and they don't know how to deal with it. And there again is where the issues of like what society encourages become even more of an issue, because if you go to therapy and you're on medication or whatever and it doesn't seem to be helping, then they're at a complete loss. They don't know what to do. It's like, well, you've done what you're supposed to do and it's not working. So hopefully, you know, if you're watching this and you know someone who has anxiety and maybe you don't, then it'll help you to have a better understanding of where they're coming from. And one thing a lot of people do is that they want to help, and that's a good thing, but they don't know how. They don't have the patience to deal with it, which is understandable because it's not a fun thing to deal with, you know, when you're trying to help someone and it seems like they don't want your help because they're not listening. And what it is, you know, everyone's got their own path, or they're on their own timeline, and the best thing you can do is just be there for them and encourage them. Don't, like, help encourage them to step out and then do things, of course, but don't push them. You have to be a support for them to find their own way. Of course, that means they have to be willing to find their own way to begin with, but if you're there for them and you encourage them enough in the right way and you're patient, you can help them to find that path. And it's geez, that sound is scaring me. It's very helpful to have someone who encourages you and maybe pushes you a bit, but doesn't make you feel like you're not living up to their expectations, that you're not improving like you should be, which is relevant. There is no should be. Like, everyone's got their own process and their own timeline, and you shouldn't feel like you have to do anything by a certain time or whatever. You know, hopefully you have people in your life that care about you and will support you and allow you to go through whatever you need to go through, and will just be there to help you along the way. And that's basically the general there he is. The general advice that I could offer. Not that it matters. Not that you'll listen or that you're even watching. But that's the thing. Like, a lot of people just get frustrated and they want to give up because they're trying everything they know to help someone, but they're just not listening. It's not going anywhere. And it is a difficult issue. And sometimes you just have to back off and let them go on their way. But in whatever way you can, the best thing to do is just to be there, be supportive, help them along, and let them make the decision to help themselves and to better themselves, not just for themselves, but also for you, to be a friend or a family member or whatever, and show that they are grateful for you sticking with them. It will encourage them to do better for themselves. That obviously doesn't mean to allow someone to take advantage of you, because there's a fine line there. But it's just, you know, a lot of people, you get frustrated and they give up on someone because they're fixated on trying to help them, when helping them is just being there. That's really all you have to do, and just being an encouragement and whatnot. And this became really sappy, and maybe this is really horrible advice. Geez. I don't feel like fighting that right now. But it's just, maybe it'll help someone for me to talk about this. Probably not. I don't know. I think I might be good on resources for now to continue the Let's Play this week. We shall see. It looks like you got a good bit. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And hopefully, if you found this video, it was helpful. And if there's anything you would like me to talk about, and my ignorant, poor and stupid, redneck, uninformed, rambling, disorganized way, you could let me know, and I'll be sure to destroy a topic for you. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe. Anyway, that's basically it. Also, what I forgot to mention, I got kind of lost in what other people do, is if you have anxiety and you're dealing with it and you're feeling bad about yourself, what you have to do is just accept the condition you're in, because denying it only perpetuates the confusion and the conflict, and it prevents you from solving anything. You just get more confused and more frustrated with how you feel. So just accept it and relax and let it be, and then just try to focus on improving yourself in whatever way you can, and that'll come more naturally than if you keep denying it and telling yourself you shouldn't feel how you're feeling, because that doesn't really do you any good. It just makes you feel worse about how you're feeling, and it doesn't bring about any solution. So, you know, if you're someone that has it, try to just relax about your situation and allow yourself to grow and improve from it. And if you have someone there being supportive for you, then, you know, do your best to thank them and show that you're grateful for their support. And if you don't, then, like I said, just allow yourself to improve and be there for yourself, and don't be your own worst enemy all the time. I know it's hard and it's a process, but that's what you have to remember. It's not going to change overnight. You just have to try and keep a more neutral, hopefully siding with the positive mindset, and you know, just allow things to take their course. And don't put yourself on a timeline. Don't feel like you have to do it by a certain time, or that you need to match up to any standard or whatever. Just focus on feeling better. And that'll go a long way, you know, whether you do go to therapy or medications or whatever you decide to do. That'll put you in a better mindset to make better use of those things, and actually be in a state of mind to look for solutions, or to just find happiness in how you are, you know. So that's been Dr. Anxious. I'll have my own television show soon, right before Oprah. And yeah, if you found this, thanks for watching. I hope it helped if you sat through this rambling, boring mess of a topic. And if you'd like to see more, let me know. Alright? Bye, guys.